Good morning, everybody. This is Coola and coming to you live for our pre-market prep. We are recording this, so if you are joining us live on the Discord, make sure you realize that we are recording this for YouTube and X content. So, moving right along. First of all, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and Gamma Edge. Without those guys, we wouldn't be able to bring you this content. And then also, big shout out to everybody on the merge team. This has been super seamless. So I'm glad to do that. So we are now raw stocks. We are combined forces, and truly and honestly, it's been a real joy to be in the Discord and meeting and conversing with everybody. So I'm happy. So today we're seeing SPY. We take a look at taking a look at this is something that we need to look at right here, but I won't cover this right now. Keeping an eye on the US 30 here for a 4.95 surge. Let's look at SPY real quick. SPY, you can clearly see that we've had a strong move here. Let's take this off. Drop this. Okay. So we have broken the 200. We have a really tight, closely following 4-day moving average, which I love to use as a trend, as a short-term trend indicator, the 4-day moving average, and that's all the way up to about 576 now. So watching that would bring us into some type of support at 576 as a potential pullback target right now. Don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to chop here a little bit. If you go back and take a look historically and kind of see how we respond to this range, you can kind of see the days, right? Look at the block here. Look at the block in this chop here. There was big days between virtually 590 and 585, and we experienced that yesterday, right? Just kind of watching that kind of pinball. So I'm not, I've talked about this before. I don't think that we're just going to bust right through 5900 on SPX. I think this is something where we need to keep that in mind, and don't be so short term, one-sided on contracts or anything like that. You need to think about this as this could be a potential chop zone. It's definitely a big area, but I want to go over some of the data that we're seeing right now. So this morning, in regards to SPY, we're going to be looking at data here. This is going to show us that we still are kind of standing at the 590 to 585 range. Okay, we are seeing some traction above, where we're starting to see some net delta increase and some of the net gex increase over 590. But as of right now, your wall stands between 590 and 585. These are your kind of pinball targets. You're going to see some type of support. We have it at 585, but you're going to see the transitional support here closer to that 587 mark, 586 mark, excuse me. And but yeah, so it's still bullish. Okay, we're not top heavy like normally speaking. We'd see this very much loaded with puts if we were looking for this thing to pull back. This is very much, in my opinion, a very choppy look here. There's nothing super aggressive here on the outside of these. Now, if you're looking at a 515 call again, very focused in this range, and you can start to see this is where we start to get a little bit more muddy. There's no true top here. It's very equal here in regards to where it's trying to push us, but it does kind of streamline and get us up towards that 600 mark later on in the week. I don't think that's going to be the case, y'all. I really don't. I think we're going to chop here. I think we're going to spend some time here. You can tell just how indecisive people are here. People are starting to short here. Some people are starting to go just heavy long. But I think it's a little undecided. I think it's going to take a little bit more than just a couple days. All right, so let's put this on the chart. The options level for today is 590 to 585. If we break outside this range, this is something where we could see some type of gamma squeeze over the top of 590. See, this thing wants to push into potentially all the way back up into that 595 area. Let's take a look at SPX real quick and kind of see if it's giving us anything different here. Let's see. I mean, we have a pretty decent size 5830 put here, trying to maybe see if that is going to be something that comes into play, but I don't know. That doesn't really look doesn't look great. Not a ton of options here. It's okay. Way better than yesterday, but yesterday was super slow. So a little bit different setup there on SPX, as you can see. That comes down all the way from 5,900 here to 5830. Is that what I said? 5830. Yeah. So a slightly different. Someone has got a hot mic. Someone's got a hot mic. Dongo.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
You're all good. So we're looking at 5,900 to 5830. This is the range that we see on SBX for the opening print here. Will this be something that can potentially break all the way down there? I think there's a possibility. Do I think it's likely? Probably not. I think it's probably going to be bought up into that 585 area, which is more so into this range. So not as steep as that, but if we do lose 585, bet your ass we're going back down towards that 580 area, because it works just the same way. Dealers are virtually set up between 585 and 590. If we break outside that, there's a big chance that we could see some type of squeeze towards those next markers. And I'm not talking about some little 1 minute candle that kind of pops out and noses out. I'm talking about some longer time frame candles that close outside there. All right, let's move it on to Nvidia here. Nvidia yesterday, we talked about this, a potential 120 to 127 range for the week. We talked about if it got over 127, you could see it squeeze up to that 130 area. Well, that's exactly what we saw. 130 squeezed, and today we're actually opening up towards that 133 mark. So let's pull up the data today and kind of see what we're looking at and see if this is potentially got a moving target for us. So 135 supply here. Okay, 135 supply. So the upside moved 135 to 125. So adjusting this now for the new options range for the week. The floor has risen and so has the ceiling. So this is all moved here. So right now you're currently closer to the top here of your options range. Is this something where you want to short? I think it's probably getting close. But until we start seeing some of this drop off, I think that's probably a bad idea for you. If you do, I think you do it in some type of short, or excuse me, some type of low leverage, or no leverage, really, just some type of smaller lotto type of short, and you're looking for it to maybe pull back down towards that 125 area. You'd probably get a pretty cheap contract here, but don't do it in thinking that you're going to have some large lot against Nvidia. That would be a terrible idea, as we are very, very bullish into this. You're going to see the gap here. This is a strong move. We're going to open up right near this gap. I think this is where we need to be watching. That 135 is the cap on the options wall. I think this is probably an ideal area to take a little mini scalp, but I tried to do that yesterday on SPX and I got bit. So sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. There was a clear wall for us yesterday at 585, and we ripped right through it and I got caught. So sometimes, you got to understand that's just what happens. All right, so Nvidia, very bullish. I think we're running out of room here. 140 is probably our upside. I think this will probably maybe find a little bit of a down day and then recover. But I think ultimately our target is probably up towards that 140 mark. This has been a very parabolic type of move here, just very much up this whole time. And we're gonna see if we stall out a little bit into this 135 and 140 area. So be careful, but don't take any type of large shorts here. I don't think it's a great idea. Um, so 140 is our target, but 135 is our containment. 135 to 125 is our containment zone for the week right now. All right, moving on to Tesla. I know you guys love Tesla here. Okay, so Tesla had a super large range for us, right? We were looking at 350 to 290 yesterday. It had a nice move off it. We talked about this, trying to generate some speed up towards that 350 area. You're seeing that happening over pre-market, right? 343 right now. 343. Let's take a look and see how this changed, because later on in the afternoon, I started seeing 350 just grow and grow and grow. Yeah, so 350 is pretty strong. Will we start to see some higher moves? I don't know if we're going to catch those this week. We start to see some 400 starting to build, some 380s, but I truly think that this 350 to 355 is probably going to be it for this move on the way up. Running a little bit out of steam, I believe. I think that like I said, I think SPX is having a little trouble with 5900. If SPX has an issue with 5900 and gets sold on at 5900, that could be a potential wind loss. I always like to say the S&P is the win for the market, right? It would be win loss for somebody like Tesla or Nvidia's sales, and we would see this thing kind of starting to flatten out, or maybe even a potential pullback. But 350, I mean, this is super bullish, guys. Super, super bullish. Do not, how I was saying that Tesla looked like, or excuse me, Nvidia yesterday was a no-go on a short. That's how I feel about Tesla today. Do not short this. Do not short these tickers here. They are in a very, very bullish mood and very bullish data. There is a range to be bought, right? So they could pull back, but at this point, I don't want anything to do with this. If anything to do with this besides just buying calls into this towards that 350 mark. So of course it can go all the way back down. I didn't look at the floor here. Floor has not risen. It's all the way at 290. I think if we're really realistically looking at this, it's probably closer towards that 300 or maybe even that 332 area, where we're a little lower here. 332 area is probably where you could be watching. Yeah, 332. Watching this moving average kind of climb with it. That would probably be your low where you start buying. So anyways, that's covering those. I'm going to take an opportunity to say thank you for everybody who supports us. I know that this is going to be a little bit of a change for us. I mean, we did the X lives every morning for quite some time, or virtually every morning. But we're doing this to help grow our community. We are making sure that the lives are getting pushed out to our premium members, so they're able to get into that live and catch that access. And then we will release these on market open, or a little bit after market open for everybody else, so you can take a look at it and look at our analysis and kind of see how we did against the day. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for everybody to coming into the live here in the Discord. And if you missed some of it, I will upload the recording. And yeah, until next time, we'll catch you later. Thanks, guys.